You won't believe what they uncovered in this abandoned gang house. It's astonishing how many secrets a home can hide. You might think you know every corner, but then one day you stumble upon a hidden door. From an unusual safe discovered in a new house to underground passages steeped in history, here are 20 creepy things people have found hidden in their homes. Number 20. A secret tunnel and missing manuscripts. Now, this first story is quite unbelievable. It features an ancient monastery known as Mont Saint-Odile, a historical establishment overlooking beautiful landscapes and undoubtedly hiding over a millennium's worth of artifacts and stories. The monastery was named after a woman named Odile, born blind to the Duke of Alsace. She was discreetly taken to a nearby town due to her father's disappointment, but destiny had plans for Odile. After a baptism guided by an angelic intervention, she miraculously gained her sight. The news spread, leading to a family reunion that had its highs and tragic lows, but all's well that ends well. Recognizing her grace and compassion, her father erected the Mont Saint-Odile Abbey in her honor. The abbey became inhabited by those who believed in the order, and all was well until the turn of the century when the priests inside noticed that the books in the abbey's library were disappearing one by one. Suspicion was everywhere, with even the librarian, Father Alandonius, under scrutiny. However, despite the heightened security, the books continued to vanish. Well, everyone was at a loss until authorities got involved and the truth was revealed. The culprit? It was Stanislaus Goss, a former professor and an avid admirer of the abbey's rich history, who had been borrowing them using a secret room concealed behind a bookshelf. Goss indulged his passion, diving into ancient manuscripts. By the time he was discovered, over 1,100 books had found their way to his personal collection. However, Goss wasn't really a criminal. While what he did was incredibly wrong, he wasn't in it for the money. He genuinely cherished the manuscripts, even taking steps to restore some. Recognizing his genuine passion, the courts gave him a unique sentence, a fine, community service, and assisting the monks with cataloging and restoring the books. In a heartwarming turn of events, Goss even found a place within the monastery as a teacher. Number 19. Man discovers secret underground passageways under home. This man was taken aback when he discovered a hidden door under a bookcase that led to a labyrinth of underground passages and rooms beneath his home. Freddie Goodall, a native of Sussex in the UK, made the find while going through old photographs of his family's 500-year-old home. His theory is that in the 1800s, servants used the tunnels to go around undercover. In the video posted to TikTok, Freddie can be seen removing books from a shelf and unscrewing the front wooden panel. More than 4.5 million people have seen the video, in which he lifts the panel to reveal an empty, dark chamber. Another panel on the floor catches his eye, and he removes it to reveal a hidden tunnel leading to underground chambers. On top of that, Freddie discovered a ladder that leads to an upper level. After making the ascent, he discovers a second, even larger room that's covered with dust and wasp nests. As he enters, he notices a set of stairs leading to a second entrance on the opposite side of the room. He's discovered several hidden pathways and thinks that the servants may have used them to navigate the property without bothering the rich owner. Number 18. Stolen de Kooning painting worth $165 million found behind a bedroom door. Up next, we're taking a look at the genius painter Willem de Kooning. The University of Arizona Museum of Art proudly displayed one of his paintings, Womanoker, for many years before it was stolen in 1985. Investigators were at a loss for what to do next because they had no leads at all in the case. A couple, knowing the picture was worth $165 million, tricked their way into the museum early one morning before it opened. The woman distracted the security guard while the man took a blade to cut the painting from its frame and rolled it up to conceal it beneath his coat. After that, no further sightings were reported, that is, until Ron Roseman took over the estate of his recently deceased aunt and uncle. The elderly couple had some small debts and paid this in part by selling their modest art collection to a neighborhood antique shop for about $2,000 via Roseman, who was the executor. Neither Roseman nor the antique dealer realized the de Kooning was in the collection. Some customers, though, were quick to notice it, and questions began to be asked. A curious art trader looked up the painting online and confirmed his suspicions. It was the stolen de Kooning. The artwork was returned to the gallery, bringing joy to many who had missed it for so long. Number 17. 15-foot python found living inside this man's living room. This is the scary moment that a man found a 15-foot-long python hiding inside of his living room wall and caught it. Somchai Subdang was watching TV one afternoon when he heard a strange clunking sound coming from the plasterboard. He put his ear to the wall to find out what was going on. He was surprised to hear hissing sounds coming from the wall. He says that when he heard the noise, he jumped in fear. Somchai then called for help. When the emergency team got there, they used a hammer to break through the wall where the huge snake was coiled up. Somchai said, "I'm not afraid of the snake while it's stuck in the wall, but it could have been scary if it got into the ceiling and dropped on me while I was sleeping." The python was put in a bag and taken away. Bangkok wildlife workers took the bag and put the snake back in the wild. In Thailand, you can often find pythons and other snakes in drains, pipes, trees, and bushes. Pretty terrifying. Number 16. Couple find creepy room behind bathroom walls. In this bed, you'll definitely have some nightmares. Their discovery of a terrifying hidden area in their home left Carolyn and Stephen Sparks seriously freaked out. What really gave them the creeps was the wrought iron bed frame in the room. The couple from England recently purchased a Victorian-era house in the city of Brighton. They didn't discover the hidden room until they hired contractors to start remodeling the building. After an architect discovered the secret entrance in the modest washroom, Carolyn whipped out her phone to capture the terrifying discovery. When the doors open, the video shows a very steep stairway leading down to a basement where the hidden room is located. Carolyn and Stephen are seen carrying flashlights and seeming pretty terrified as they descend the stairs. In this clip, they're practically trapped in the dark, cramped chamber. The proprietors were frightened by the eerie appearance of the single bed frame that spans the entire width of the cramped bedroom. The room that Carolyn and Stephen thought was a torture chamber, in fact, turned out to be a Victorian coal room. The daughter even considered using the room, specifically the bed, to create a horror film for school. It's an ingenious way to put the scary set to use, but I really hope she isn't scared of ghosts from the Victorian era, because this place has got to be full of them. Number 15. Bootleggers whiskey stash found by couple renovating house. Nick Drummond and his partner Patrick Baker purchased an old but solid house in the rural community of Ames, New York. The young couple appreciated the quiet neighborhood and the gently rolling countryside that surrounded their new house. They were enamored with the home's mysterious atmosphere and the possibilities they saw for its revitalization. Drummond and Baker also heard the juicy rumors surrounding the property, such as the urban legend that a legendary bootlegger built it. Then, as they were updating the home's mudroom, the couple uncovered the first of 13 carefully wrapped bundles containing 6 bottles of blended Scotch whiskey from the early 20th century. The news of the couple's Prohibition-era find quickly spread across news sites and social media platforms, attracting the attention of collectors, distilleries, and auction houses like Sotheby's, all of which were interested in either acquiring the bottles for themselves or showcasing them in some way. The two risked sampling the questionable beverage right before the holidays. Not too bad, as far as Drummond was concerned. It had the flavor of whiskey and the kick. Number 14. Huge sums of cash found in a second-hand house's walls. In a recent raid on an apartment, Chinese police found more than $8 million in cash, all hidden in the wall. The cops were looking into a possible fraud scam. A lot of money was going missing in the Jilin province, but no one knew where it had gone. Then local police arrested and detained 4 people, including a lawyer. The bust happened in the Ningjiang district of Songyuan after the police got a tip that a company called Shuanghai was buying off the debts of small businesses and people for a low price. They followed a man with the last name Wei, who worked for the company as a lawyer. The main thing they wanted to know was where Wei put the money after taking it out of the bank. Turns out he was hiding it in the walls of his apartment. 2 raids proved that there were 64 million yuan hidden behind the walls. Number 13. 9-foot alligator breaks into house and is discovered relaxing in living room. This alligator didn't even bother to knock before moving in. When Kenny McCaw walked into a house being built in Louisiana, he was met by a 9-foot alligator who had moved into the living room. McCaw calmly called the Fish and Wildlife Department. Officials there sent Jeremy Pruitt, a local animal nuisance remover and reality star who was on 2 seasons of the show Swamp People. Pruitt, who's known McCaw for a long time, said that he took the 250-pound alligator outside and made it spin to tire it out. This TV star has worked with alligators since he was 8 years old. He sent this big gator back into the wild, ready for sleep, and now everyone's back in their place. We're from Louisiana, so it's nothing new for us, just not in the house, McCaw said, laughing. But it was a lot funnier once the gator was gone. Number 12. Man renovating his home discovered a tunnel to a massive underground city. These stunning images depict an 18-story underground metropolis discovered by chance during some home renovations. A Turkish father discovered the tunnel leading to Durango, an ancient city, in 1963 by destroying a wall in his basement. What a terrific discovery! All of the magic of the ruins of a city found in your basement. From the looks of the intact metropolis, there was enough room for 20,000 people, their animals, and all of their food to dwell 85 meters below ground. It's believed that in the Byzantine era, which ran from 780 to 1180 AD, they saw the construction of networks of kitchens, stables, churches, graves, wells, community halls, and schools. Because of the danger posed by the Arab-Byzantine wars, it was likely used as a kind of bunker. There were around 600 entryways and exits to the ancient city, which was embellished with Greek inscriptions and chapels carved into the rock face. During this time, the doors to Durango were made of solid stone and locked from the inside, making it difficult for outsiders to gain access. In addition, it's linked to other subterranean towns through tunnels that reach for miles. Number 11. In 2018, a homeowner in Tennessee found 35,000 honeybees hidden behind a brick wall. After pulling about 35,000 honeybees out of a brick wall in Tennessee, a bee removal expert is getting a lot of attention. David Glover, who calls himself the Bartlett Bee Whisperer, was recently asked to get rid of bees in a Germantown home. The homeowner was allergic to bee stings and had previously tried to get rid of the bees by hiring a local pest control company, but it didn't work. Glover was finally called out as a sure way to get rid of the honeybees. When Glover got there, he did a thermal scan to figure out where the bees were, but he didn't know how big the hive was until he broke through the wall. He found that the bees were getting into the hive through a small hole and another small space between the bricks and the corner of a window. So he started taking the bricks out one by one, slowly revealing the huge hive. After more than 4 hours, Glover removed the honeycomb safely. He said that it wasn't overly attached to the bricks, which made the removal process easier than he expected. Glover said it was one of the largest single pieces of comb he had ever seen. It was about 3 feet wide and 5 feet tall. Glover, who's been in the bee removal business since 2009 and removes about 250 hives a year, said that the homeowner was more than happy that the bees and their hive could be moved. Number 10. Homeowner finds secret room that may be part of Underground Railroad. Lansdowne, Pennsylvania's Alexandra Pulo has always known that her home was unique. It now appears that her hunches were correct. Pulos is convinced that a hidden area in her basement served as a stop on the Underground Railroad. As she was walking home from the store one day, she recalled the story her father had heard years before from a previous neighbor about a secret network buried beneath their homes. Perhaps she hoped the network went down to her basement too. She thought that it was possible for her home to have played a role in the Underground Railroad. When Alexandra had some cracks in the basement patched, she asked the repairman if they might check for the presence of an underground railroad, which they found somewhat odd. The following day, however, the workers phoned to inform her that they had, in fact, discovered something unusual, a hidden passage leading to the famous underground tunnels. Number 9. Saline family discovered bat colony inside their dream home. Let me just start off, that's a weird dream home. It's not a secret that bats are important to the environment. Farmers save hundreds of millions of dollars because these mammals keep pests away, pollinate plants, and spread seeds. But if they live in people's homes, especially during the season when they roost, they can be a bother. Not only did this happen to a family in Saline, Michigan, but they were also forced to leave their home. Their ordeal led to a change in the rules about how to get rid of bats, so there was a silver lining to this bat-shaped cloud. Monty McCann's dream was to move into a 100-year-old house with his wife and 6-month-old son. But even in his wildest dreams, he never imagined that he'd spend most of his days tapping on the walls of his bedroom because he could hear bats moving around. Since one of the bats was found to have rabies, McCann called a company to remove them. In Michigan, bats usually roost from June to the middle of August. If bats live in people's homes, they fly in and out a lot during this time to find food for their babies. If one-way doors are put in, the bats won't be able to get back in, and sadly, their babies will die. There are 9 different kinds of bats in Michigan. The northern long-eared bat and the Indiana bat are protected species, but even they can be killed if they threaten human health and safety. Number 8. Solving the mystery of the portrait hidden in the walls of a Halifax home. The owners of an old house in Halifax, Canada, have found a treasure trove of forgotten items and papers inside of their walls, including a photo of a woman that they want to learn more about. The woman and her husband own a hydrostone house. It's one of many that were built after the Halifax explosion of 1917 for working-class families who had to leave their homes. The family started fixing up their kitchen by taking out the cabinets and repairing the walls. When they got behind the walls, they found papers and pictures that the previous owners had left behind. She said that inside the walls were a Canadian Railway employee's monthly magazine in perfect condition, a Simpsons catalog, 2.5-cent coupons for Acadia Stores Limited, and a few Christmas cards. She even found receipts from the Halifax Relief Commission from 1924, when rent was only $25 a month. Even though all these things are interesting, what really caught the couple's attention was the photo of the mysterious woman. The professional portrait shows a beautiful young woman with her hair done and wearing a blouse with a high collar and lacy details. All she knows about the picture is that it was taken in Halifax by a photographer named Harry J. Moss. The people who live there are hoping that they'll be able to figure out who the mystery woman is and give the picture back to her family. Number 7. Sophisticated ghost gun factory found hidden inside San Jose home. 3 people have been charged after a high-tech ghost gun factory was found in a San Jose home. Investigators went to a brick bungalow home and caught the people there making illegal ghost guns. These, sadly, are not guns for ghosts. They're regular guns that are made without licenses and used by criminals. Officers found the secret room where the ghost guns were being made. Inside, they found 8 assault rifles, handguns, and various parts for assault rifles, half-finished machine pistols, ammunition, 3D printers, and some fentanyl. Prosecutors said that all of the suspects were convicted felons who made AK and AR-style assault rifles and other custom-ordered assault weapons. The guns were made with the help of kits, jigs, and 3D printing. They worked like fully automatic machine guns. This is a very risky way to play Transformers. Number 6. Hidden World War II love letters found in Pensacola home. A couple from Pensacola found some hidden love letters that told the story of a man who served in World War II and his sweetheart. Zach and Shannon Carter bought a house in Escambia County. The house was built in the 1970s, so almost everything had to be torn down and refurbished. The only things that are still the same are the cabinets. Shannon says that the inspector told them he found some old letters in one of the cabinets before they moved in, and Shannon took a closer look. The Carters didn't really think much of them, but it turned out that there were piles of love letters from 1948 to 1949, and Shannon just had to read them. They said it was, the best thing they could receive. The letters belonged to the first people who lived in this house, Bud Middleton, whose name was William, and his girlfriend Doreen. The Carters found out from the letters that Bud served in World War II. He wrote the letters while he was in school in Georgia after the war. Since Doreen was from Canada, the letters were sent there. Bud and Doreen got married, had children, and moved to Pensacola. In the end, the Carters saw that their own love story was a lot like Bud and Doreen's. Zach and Shannon were together for almost 3 years, but they didn't live close to each other. Shannon was in school in Texas while Zach was in Pensacola. They didn't write love letters to each other, though. But maybe now they'll be inspired to keep up a tradition. Number 5. Enormous bear found under deck of Durango home. It's not just gators that are eyeing human habitats for themselves. In the town of Durango, Colorado, Parks and Wildlife was able to safely remove one of the largest male bears they had ever seen. The bear was found sleeping under a deck in the southwestern Colorado town. Officers from the CPW thought the bear was at least 10 years old and could weigh up to 400 pounds. 5 wildlife officers and a tranquilizer dart were needed to get the bear out from under the deck and into a trailer. The bear was given a health check and then given a microchip and ear tags. The bear was given a drug that helped it wake up quickly after it was driven more than 60 miles away from Durango to a new home. The bear's new home has plenty of food, and it's unlikely to run into hunters this hunting season. As bears get ready to hibernate for the winter and spend up to 20 hours a day hunting for their necessary 20,000 plus calories, they're more likely to come into contact with people. Number 4. Disturbing collection of Nazi artifacts discovered in secret room. In this sinister case, more than 75 Nazi objects were found in a secret room of a collector's suburban Buenos Aires home. In a raid, Argentine police found the items hidden behind a bookcase. There was a wall, and then a little door behind the bookcase concealing the terrifying haul. The collection included many fascinating objects like a magnifying glass in a box with a swastika on it and a photo negative of Adolf Hitler holding the same glass. There was also a huge statue of the Nazi eagle, some silverware, a phrenological measuring device, a dagger, binoculars, a sundial, an hourglass, a box of harmonicas, and toys that would have been used to indoctrinate children. The investigation began when so-called artworks of illegal origin were found in a gallery in the north of Buenos Aires. The name of the collector, whose hidden collection also included mummified animals and things from China, Japan, and Egypt, has not been made public. Many high-ranking Nazis fled Europe for Argentina at the end of World War II, and investigators think that officials close to Adolf Hitler brought the artifacts with them. Number 3. Bodies of strange creatures found in the basement of an old house in London. Fairies, werewolves, and aliens. whose skeletons had wings, were supposedly discovered in the basement of an old London residence. A wide variety of mythical monsters were on display in the macabre collection, all preserved in jars and cases. The collection of sinister-looking deformed extraterrestrial bodies and hairy humanoid bones are now on show alongside rotting fairy carcasses and their wings nailed to display boards. Aside from what are believed to be human hearts and other organs, the trove also included sketches of murder victims Catherine Eddowes and Elizabeth Stride. Thomas Theodore Mary Lynn, a rich aristocrat and biologist in the 1800s, is thought to have amassed the macabre display in his home and then left them for decades before this amazing discovery in 1960 in London. While clearing the land for the building of new residential areas, the old, long-abandoned home belonging to Thomas Theodore Mary Lynn was scheduled for demolition. Alex C.F., the artist who unveiled the astonishing objects, claimed that Maryland's journals contain references to all sorts of advanced ideas that didn't exist at the time, such as quantum physics and the multiverse theory. So this wasn't just macabre, but it also showed the thoughts of a unique mind from the middle of the 19th century. What a find! Number 2. Secret New York apartment found hidden behind bathroom mirror on TikTok. Samantha Hartsoe, a New Yorker, disregarded the lessons of any regular horror film when she discovered a 3-bedroom condominium concealed behind her bathroom mirror. She decided to explore the interior, much to the delight of local horror movie villains and, just like ghosts in general, millions of people saw Samantha's internet post on the event, which was likened by some to the films Parasite and Candyman. She was in her bathroom when she felt the first icy breath of a strange draft. Strands of her hair were being blown by the wind, but no window was open. She turned to the mirror, looked behind it, and revealed the mysterious chamber. Despite her disbelief, she prepared for battle by donning a handmade mask, headlamp, and a hammer. Inside the creepy hidden area, Samantha discovered open windows and a heap of trash bags. She discovered a water bottle, and this made her realize that someone must have been living here at some point. Due to the exposed pipes, broken floors, and lack of a bathroom or toilet, she concluded that the place was, however, uninhabitable and turned back. How the flat got there is still a mystery. Not even the building management could shed any light on the mystery, according to Samantha. For now, she just stays as far away from her bathroom as she can. She thinks that at least some of the popularity of her video is due to the attention that it gets from New Yorkers who can only dream of finding more space behind their bathroom walls. Now it's time for today's topic. Jerry got a great deal on this house, and he was very pleased with his purchase. The previous owner had recently passed away, but when Jerry first saw the house, he discovered the basement was littered with old stuff belonging to the former owner. So, the new owner was cleaning out the basement when he came across something unusual, an oddly fitting plywood panel in the wall. Jerry made the decision to investigate the peculiar plank of wood. He attempted to shift it, but it wouldn't budge. He pushed and pulled at the plank of wood until it separated from the wall. What he saw next stunned him to the point of terror. About 4 square feet in area, a room was hidden away inside the wall. A large gray metal box and numerous gun cases and pallets of military ammo were inside. There was a large safe tucked away in there as well. They found a giant safe in a former gang house. Look at what they got inside. Jerry conducted further research in the basement and discovered several additional firearms. Then he rummaged along the ammunition and pulled out a grenade. Astonishingly, the previous owner had left behind enough firearms to arm a small army, which is both fascinating and a bit unsettling. Number 1. Murdered Jewish painter's work found hidden in Prague house. Gertrude Cotters, a Jewish painter living in Prague in 1937, opted to hide her extensive collection of works after learning that the Nazis could seize and destroy them. Many years later, approximately 30 paintings tumbled out and fell onto Michael Sulik's head as he led a demolition crew in the summer of 2018 to bring down an abandoned property south of Prague. As the group continued dismantling the house throughout the day, they discovered additional caches of stunningly magnificent artwork hidden under floorboards and behind walls. As summer rain clouds collected over Prague, 700 paintings and sketches were left out in the open on the job site by day's end. The story behind the odd finding didn't take homeowner Jakub Sulik long to figure out. Sulik was brought up hearing tales of priceless artwork buried away in the mansion that he now owns. Many of the paintings were signed Gertrude Cotters, proving that the family mythology was right. As soon as the artwork was hidden, Cotters became entangled in the nightmare machinery of the Nazi regime. Having been discovered to be Jewish, she was arrested and then sent to a concentration camp in May of 1942. For a short time, Cotters was detained with the other malnourished and ailing inmates in the camp north of Prague. Eventually, she was transferred to the Majdanek extermination camp, located near Lublin, Poland, almost 600 kilometers to the east. Cotters was murdered in the camp on or after May 17, 1942, and her body was cremated in special ovens constructed for the mass murders that would become known as the Holocaust. Which one of these finds creeped you out the most? Are you going to explore your home now and look for a hidden door? Let us know in the comments below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.